All right, here we go. Um, well, sorry for the late stream. What I thought I was gonna do tonight turned out I already done. Not on a stream, but I had still done it, and I don't need to do it again. So instead of doing a quick page on Clifford interlocking, I'm gonna have to do a two-parter of Baltimore stuff. It's a two-part. It's a two-part bunch of two-part photo set. First part is a bunch of crap in Baltimore, and the next part is a bunch of stuff around Port Deposit. So they're kind of logically separate. So I'm going to do them in two parts today. We're going to be starting out with the Baltimore stuff, which is actually a lot of locomotive based photos. Yeah, I know. There's a real change. And then next Sunday to Monday, I'll be streaming with the Port Deposit stuff. So I don't need this anymore. Don't need that Clifford. We're not doing that. We're doing this one. So these photos are from February of 2004. Yep. So we're going to get started here. Again, I apologize for the late start. I was delayed by other things, then I had to switch topics. So, anywho, I'll get going here. So, my old apartment in Baltimore was located about I won't say directly adjacent to, but about a half block away from the Baltimore Terminal sub. It was such that if I monitored traffic on the scanner, and they were I'd either hit it. There was either a defect detector call or a signal call. I mean, it wasn't a call, but the defect detector would trip, or the signal, or the crew would call the signal to the interlocking. And I had about enough time, a little bit less on the interlocking, a little bit more on the interlocking would be going east. The defect detector was for trains heading west. I could run out and I could catch them. Now, where this place was is it's the Baltimore Belt Line, which was built in the 1890s, snaking up from Camden Station up and around Baltimore to continue on to Philly. This is the site of I'm sure I've said this before, the site of the famous 1896 electrification project with the overhead third rail. Later changed into traditional third rail and was abandoned around the 1950s. The point of the electrification was to provide a pusher service so that steam engines wouldn't smoke up the tunnels, asphyxiate people, miss signals, etc. The grades are quite stiff. Trains work really, especially the loaded coal trains, work really hard getting up out of the the downtown, which is at sea level, to sort of go up and around and then out to Philly. My block was located between the Charles Tunnel, which you can see here, and the St. Paul Tunnel. Charles under Charles Street, St. Paul under St. Paul Street. This is the block that 10 years later, this retaining wall that you see with the cast iron fence and the granite collapsed due to ongoing drainage issues. But I'll bring up that later. So I just want to set the context. So this is back when I was new to the area. I would listen up for the scanner, hear a train coming, run out, get pictures. And I did that until I got sick of it, and then I didn't do it again pretty much for the remainder of the time I was there. I mean, I would do it again, but it became sort of an annoyance. And with so much of the CSX stuff, GE, AC4400s, I just sort of didn't, it's one of those things where I guess in hindsight I could have gotten more pictures of certain things, but that's what other people are for. Locomotives are, someone's taking pictures of those. Anyway, first up, we're going to have a 9000 series CSX GE. Now, these are special. I think these are still in service. These are technically listed as, let me see, I believe that they are listed as a -8. Oh, that's right. They're the 9000 series are C40-9Ws. These are not C40-9Ws in the sense that they're like NS C40-9Ws. What the hell's my picture? NS was known for this 4,000 horsepower versus 4,400. Technically, it was honestly just a switch in the cab. The crews could demand 4,000 at any time. These CSX 9000 series were prototype -9s. So they were pretty much either advanced -8s or simple -9s. So these were kind of limited to 4,000 horsepower. So that's what's sort of special. I'm pretty sure that these are still in operation. I don't know what I assume that they'll probably get rebuilt at some point. But that seems to be the way of the world these days. I mean, that's good. It's nice that these are getting rebuilt, but I'm pretty sure they're still in service. What with all the cuts, the engine elimination programs. I don't know about CSX's real Dash 8s, but their quote-unquote Dash 9s are sort of like a Dash 8, a wolf in Dash 8 clothing. So there you go. Keep a lookout for them. According to the roster, I'm not sure how up-to-date this is. I think there were 52 or so. Now, this thing is saying that they were derated. Maybe they were, but that's part of the issue, I think, that they were prototypes. They might have gotten 44 and then had to derate due to the fact that, again, the engines they were kind of Dash 8 engines. And you can see the trucks. I'm going to zoom in on this one because this is important. They don't have Dash 9 trucks. They got the wavy E60 style Dash 8 trucks. So when I say these are not these are prototype Dash 9s, I'm not kidding. And I'm not sure why they were derated. It could be to a traction motor cooling issue, whatever. So that's going to be the loophole for continued Dash 8s as NS goes about retiring all of its Dash 8s. Of course, when you see 8000 series on CSX, that's a SD40-2. Note the traditional kind of seaboardy scheme. There's a lot of people who know their CSX schemes. This is more gray than I think that a lot of them do. 8445. Let's just double check here so don't make a fool of myself. Yep, that's part of that SD40-2 block. Don't know how many of those are stored or not stored, but we're not. They're always going to be used for something. If you ask CSX people, they know all the paint schemes. It's like phase. I don't think it's by phase, but they all have like something 3B, threes. There's a jillion different ways to denote them. In fact, it seems like a little challenge. I usually do these things to wait for people to come in. Blue cab paint, yeah. That looks like CSX, BC, BC2, blah, 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 blah. I guess that those are official, but yeah, there's a lot of paint schemes there. So, anywho. Cutting back to the pictures. So one thing that, if you're wondering why if you wanted evidence of the electrification, the necessity for it back in the days of steam, even in the days of diesel, depending on the load of the coal train, whatever coal train was coming out, if they were working hard, there was always a nice blast of fumes coming out. Another thing that I guess I sort of forgot about, especially when I first got there, was that here I have a nice little wide shot here of 26th Street. There was here's the sidewalk, and you can barely see how angled it is down because there was a sinkhole that was developing right there. But at the time when I first moved in, it was lined with trees, and over the year those trees most of them died. But they were very nice, especially in fall. They were all maples, so you'd get some nice fall colors. I don't have it in this set, but I do have it in others of night shots with the trees all lit up with street lights and such. Yeah, I can say if I knew this was going to collapse, I would have taken more photos. But you know, I felt I was taking a fair amount as I was there. I mean, when you live in a place, it's you get that problem. You know, the train's passing so frequently you don't even notice. I'll get this done pretty well here. So here's another view. This is taking a picture from Charles Street looking towards St. Paul. This is what I call the Charles Cut. On your right-hand side of the photo, you can see the granite wall. That is what collapsed. The city, when they rebuilt it, they literally took the entire length of 26th Street down to this bare level there, the ground level, laid a concrete pad and then like a concrete bathtub, and then refilled it with dirt and then put a retaining wall up. So will never be a problem again. But the wall is textured to look like stone, but it's just concrete. This portal and the portal I'm standing on retain, and other parts of the cut do retain their original granite faces from the 1890s. You can tell the 1890s, that sort of 1890s granite look, and this retaining wall is there as well. Whatever. You can also see part of the issues that this cut, it's a giant wet spot. CSX comes in occasionally, will dig this out, and it's all full of riprap, but there's just major drainage issues in here. It's basically almost the top of the hill. Not much they can do. The water just comes right out of the ground, since this is probably below ground. Might be below groundwater, I don't know. Or the water table. I might have also cut down on it because I may have been a wee bit self-conscious of that weirdo like running out to go take pictures of trains, but I would do it from time to time. It was the mainly thing I stopped doing was listening to the scanner, especially when I was on an upper level at that. I had to like charge down the back stairway. So here we have a CSX typical, looks like number 524. It's a light engine. You would see on occasion light engines moving around. Baltimore was a terminal area, as in it has, or had multiple yards and multiple sides of the city. Coal would go some places. Other stuff would, intermodal, and you'd probably wind up with, you would have helper operations occasionally, but oftentimes light engines like these road engines, it's because they dropped off a train at one of the area yards, and then we're going back to wherever the engine terminal was. There's facilities at both, or was facilities at both Locust Point and Curtis Bay. Those may have been consolidated, but, they're still around, even if they aren't using them at this exact moment. The bulk of the CSX fleet is in the numbers 1 through 1000. This is 524, and that would be an AC 4400 with the high adhesion, the extra ballasting. Oops. So, yeah, I mean, if I had been very diligent about it, I could have. I just felt that, like, again, we were just in this weird pool of mostly the same old GEs again and again, and I just kind of got tired of it. So here we actually have something fun and interesting. Some of the former Conrail units, 8753. Hold on. I think I don't know if it's an M or an I. It is a SD60i. The I is for isolated cab. So I'll just do a nice split here. One of the cut, one named for the cut. You can also notice again in this daytime shot of at this time when I first got there in 2003, you'd have vegetation. These trees of heaven would start reaching up to the top of the retaining wall, and eventually a slot train showed up and dug it out, which was kind of unfortunate. So I always did my best to toss stuff down there to encourage growth. You know, pumpkins and whatever rottables I didn't want to have festering out in the trash can. Oops. So I did my best to help promote you know, greenifying the city. But inevitably, CSX would tend to show up with its slot train again after a number of years. But no matter what they do, this rail is just a giant mud patch. You know, if you know what a wet spot is, like that is just what this track always is. They'll clean it up, they'll reballast it, and then within a very short period of time, it will be the exact same way. But there's not much they can really do about it. They got to use it. Here we have some of their SD70Ms. Now these are actually currently being rebuilt by CSX. I guess they feel that they got good service out of them. Note the puff of exhaust as these things are really working hard out of the tunnel. These are brand new, by the way, like seriously brand new. By the way, I should also mention that the start of the Charles Tunnel here is the eastern limits of Huntington Avenue interlocking. So I had a BNOCPL dwarf in there that it was approach lit. So if I was just walking by, I could tell if something was coming or had just passed. But if the signal was displayed, that means something was coming. So here we have 4727. This locomotive is brand new. Oh damn it! It's brand new. And you can't quite see how new it is, but maybe a little bit. If you zoom in on the nose here, you can see that paint's all nice and shiny. This was probably delivered that year. Let's see if that roster will tell us. This is the 4700 series, I think. Yeah, see, CSX does not have a lot in the meat of its roster. Yeah, SD70MACs. I thought they were M-2s. Yeah, here they are. Yeah, these are the ones. These are the M-2s, or sorry, the M2s, the SD70. I guess they are Max, but they're like that second version with the flared radiators. 4701 to 4830, built in 1103 to 304. So these were literally, you know, in the that 75 was in the process of being delivered. Was not more than a few months old. It was not more than like 3 months old. Probably wasn't on delivery, but close. CSX is a very GE railroad, so it's I guess they liked them. And here we have it leading another bog standard AC4400. You can always check my videos if you want to see or hear the sounds of various trains struggling up the hill. It was always nice when they had bad turbos, because you could hear that from a long ways off. I'm going to be doing 33 photos today. See if anybody has any questions. Oh yeah, UP. I don't know. Yeah, UP is either. I mean, they're either freshly painted or they're not. I don't know. UP doesn't seem to have a lot of middle ground. At this time of its life, CSX was that gray scheme. Just I don't know. It's like they just did not have good paint on anything. It all looked like crap. So here we have some. This is the third unit in the patch. Did have a lot of leased units around that in those days. If you're wondering all the, if you're wondering for what ultimately the motivation behind a lot of the PSR is that the closure of coal plants and the Panama Canal third lane allowing direct Chinese shipments to the East Coast have put some pressure on railroads to the because they can't they just don't have the traffic they did, so that's why the investors are getting a little pissy. So you just have a Helm Leasing SD40. Now, again, you can see the sidewalk here. It's very tough. It's tough to see, but I was there. I knew it. There's the slope down. So right now there's like a trough, and that just got worse over the years. They also narrowed the sidewalk, sort of eliminated the trees. I think they put more parking in. I think it was only parking on one side of the street, but I couldn't be sure. The wrought iron fence was original. That's been replaced with something more modern. Now, I can't be sure where this granite's going. This is going up toward. I know this was going. It's in that same train. It's going up toward New York, but I have a strong suspicion that was involved. These. I saw a whole lot of these. I have a strong suspicion that those were involved with 9/11 reconstruction. There was a lot of granite used in that, and I guess they came up from the south, and with all that federal money, they're not going to spare any expense. So that's just my suspicion there. Here we have another of the 4700 series, new on delivery. Followed by an absolutely atrocious looking, some sort of Jeep, 6118. The number board doesn't even use consistent font. It's a GP40-2. See if I can zoom in a little bit better on that. A little bit, not much. So I told you about, here's the example of the signal at Huntington Ave. Let's see if I can. Oh, it's gonna be tough to find this one because I'd lined up for on a completely different thing here. But anyway, the whole tunnel, it's a very long interlock, and all it is the a simple end of a siding. There's a very short siding between Mount Royal Station and North Ave, Huntington Ave. It's about a 5,000 foot long siding, but for visibility purposes, the other end of the tunnel is curved. As I try to find this picture. Here we go. This is it. That's a terrible name, but at least I got some of the nomenclature. Anyway, you can see, if you can zoom in there a little bit, because it's a single block siding, the CPL has 4 of the 6 orbitals, so it can display approach medium for short blocks to the signal at HB Tower at Camden Yards. It would go a stop at HB Tower, it'd be approach medium, approach at Mount Royal, stop at Huntington Ave. I mean at HB Tower. It can do medium approach, it can do medium, of course, clear, medium clear onto the siding, medium approach onto the siding to a stop, or medium approach, medium on and off the siding. Can't do medium clear because the siding's only one thing long. And then do approach. It cannot do restricting, but it does stop and proceed. So I did capture every signal that this could display over my course of the time. Medium approach, medium, of course, being the hardest. And I got that shortly before it was decommissioned, and with some help of a friend's cell phone, because at the time I didn't have my camera with me, and I probably would have missed it if I'd tried to run and get it. Also, notice those pipes there. Especially, you might notice that little bit of the orange. That's a major East Coast fiber optic hub. If you remember, during the Howard Street Tunnel fire, it cut down internet service on the East Coast. Well, those are the lines right there sticking out of the tube. If I'd gone down there with an axe or something, I could have caused an internet outage. Because again, that's not really if you know what's down there, it's not really well secured. I think it's more so, but again, they covered up those elbows in the pipes. I should probably keep the same file name because I'm sure I have a collision with something else later. I have so many pictures of that. I took more pictures of the signals than a lot of stuff. Here we have another CSX Jeep leading a Conrail. Sorry, it's not a Jeep, it's an SD40. That's an SD50. At the time, they weren't even D-rated. I think most of those are still on the roster, or a lot of them are. But at the time, those 8500 series were were pure. They were unrebuilt SD50s. So on NS, those are all SD40E helpers. This is 8575. Get the saturation going up there a little bit. Man, this is also the time when you'd still see Conrail stuff. Although you'd see that well into the end of the decade. And like I said, behind it. Oh, here we have him about to take that signal. I'll just capture this whole scene, and hopefully it won't be. This is a low light situation. That's why the grain's a bit high. So I'm not going to sharpen it too much. It's westbound. Even though I always considered Baltimore to Philly north-south, it is on Amtrak, but on CSX it's east-west, which gets always very confusing. And hopefully I got that Conrail unit, which is another SD50. You can tell by that blower there. Blower duct number 8664. Check the roster, what it's up to. Probably been sold. Hard to tell how many they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's not a lot. Anyway, it's 80. What did I say that was? 8664 in Conrail colors. What am I doing? Trying to bring down the saturation there. Or trying to bring down the brightness. Let me try that clarify filter. I don't break that out that often. Because it kills the saturation. Let's try less advanced. Let's try less extreme. Pump the saturation back up. This is not a great day for this. Don't usually need to do color corrects. Alright, whatever. And this is probably very very low light conditions, and the camera was not liking it. I think this was funny. I just was getting a picture of the reporting mark of A-OK. I should probably look that up, who the heck that is, if it even is anybody anymore. And it's not a leasing company because it doesn't end in X. Oh, it's the Arkansas-Oklahoma Rail. Wait, hold on. Some Arkansas short line. Well, there you go. On 19274. Oh, forgot to resize that. That's the right reason. Let's see what this guy is. This looks like some. What is that number? Oh, 7813. Yeah, this is a pure CSX SD. Sorry, C40-8W. Probably a former Conrail unit. 7813. Let's see if it's still around. Yeah, maybe. Bunch of these got sold off to leasing. I saw a bunch on NS last year. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a Conrail or not. I'd love to crop this down a little, but I don't want to lose too much of that. There we go. Yeah, it's only been recently with a lot of the Dash 8s going that I actually had to learn what all the different what the different GEs, what the distinctions were. because, you know, just for the longest time was, there they all go again. Especially with the collapse of the SD60s. Remember what I said about those those fake SD9? I mean the fake Dash 9s. See, you get that same sort of wavy truck pattern. Yeah. Ah. Yep. Look, see, here's another one of the fake Dash 9s. Same style truck. The NS, once they got into production of those, they have sort of the straight through, almost looks like a knuckle coupler between the rails. I don't know how I'm gonna fix this one. God, I could have done worse if I was using a vertical. You know, it's almost as bad as a vertical video. All right, there you go. That actually worked. Lost a lot of it, but not much else I can do. $90.41. And here we have a nice little trio of Jeeps at the head of a New York City garbage train. In the summer months, man, that smell of that garbage train would linger for quite some time. These are just constantly going to the south. I don't know how much they still are. I mean, New York City trash, they're still making trash. So it might not be going in the same way or, you know, same place. So I'm pretty sure this is a GP40 6248. We can check that. Yeah. So the Seaboard loved the GP, the two-axle power, because they don't have a, you know, both the Seaboard Coastline were all fans of the high-powered turbocharged, you know, Jeeps. Pretty sure it's an HLCX behind it. I also noticed that nice. I think that's nice holly in there. I don't think that's there anymore. Don't think they cut it back, but I haven't seen it. So, oh, what did I? I guess there's not much I can do with that size. All right, one more set left here. Let's see if there's any goes. Well, it's only a short set. Let's see if there are any questions. I can see it. How long was it gone? Oh, sorry about that. I tried to check. Yeah, I need to check back more often. How is that's oh shoot. Gosh, I'm sorry. I guess it's only a couple minutes. Oh man, this is freaking what's screwing it up? Shoot, I'm sorry. All right, I'll keep checking back and forth. I'm not sure what's going on. Sometimes this happens. Hasn't in a while. I guess it's that stupid website or what? Huh. All right, I'll check back. Every time I do that, I'll check back, make sure it's working. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't see the first time when I was but before I took the first break. Yeah, that's weird. Weird. All right, sorry about that. Well, you got some non-rail content there. Gosh, I'm losing my voice here. I'm over the cold by a while now. So let's see what happens. 5007. I'll check back. Hold on. Yeah, this is just another batch of goddamn AC 4400s with the extra ballast. 5007. Am I back? I'm looking at it. All right. Yep. Well, I can see it in my end. Anywho, 5007. Wait, what was that? Huh, it looks like they've renamed something. Not sure what that is, but probably was a. Oh, I don't know. Make sure everything's going. All right, whatever. Yep, looks good. Oh, see, there's another one of those. That's like the Blue Cab Scheme 2 with the outlined CSX. See, I like that CSX. That was a nice thing. But another XBNSF Helm Leasing SD40. I'm going to use the BN number. I try to do that as much as I can. If there's been if it's like if the paint job's the same and they just sort of like just resprayed the reporting marks, I usually refer to the original thing. Oh, that's what that is. That's what that 5007 is. That's an AC6000. That's why it's not on the roster anymore. You can tell the AC6000s by that massive radiator. Okay, I'm going to pull that other one up just to show people because I missed it before. Yeah, you see that giant radiator? You see they don't look giant today because we're all used to the giant radiators you need for the split cooling. The other giveaway is that the double exhaust. So yeah, I would see occasionally AC6000s, but I never recognize them because they look exactly the same as every other goddamn GE. So I'm not a GE person. I never noticed this stuff when I was down there. But yeah, this is when the AC6000s were out, and the big giveaway is that overhang. Like you could basically shelter from the rain under that radiator. Y'all seeing that? I mean, everything AC had lightning bolts. So every AC 4400 have lightning bolts. That just means AC. Doesn't mean it's the 6,000 horsepower. Just showing off. These are some cool Dragon shirts I picked up back in 2004. I just kept them in here because I wanted to get pictures of them. I kind of wore them both out years ago. This is the crazy loud one my friend would get pissed at me for wearing. That's your entertainment segment of the stream. Almost out here. Here we have another another, like I said, I caught a lot of the AC6000s, even if I didn't quite know it. Here we have number 5016. I think these were delivered in the I don't know when they were delivered. I have to check Wikipedia, which I should have up. Yeah, CSX really went all in on the. I mean, they didn't go all in, but they went in on them like UP went in on the SD90MACs. Blah blah blah. 1994. Blah blah blah. 106 Union Pacific. No, they weren't them. Suffered from various mechanicals. The engine was a problem. Blah blah blah. Screwed up the twin turbos. Oh, 1996. So these have been going on for a while. CSX repowered. How many did CSX buy? 114. 5,000 to 5016 between 98 and 2000. So this was the last one. This is the last one. It was 4 years old, so it still looks kind of new. But this is the last one that CSX bought, and probably the last one they built. They sold them all to Progress. They're gonna do something with them. Who knows? These are classified as these were extra. These had extra adhesion, I guess. And of course they were downrated. I'm not sure when that happened. It happened at some point. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they were still 6,000 horsepower at this time. Let me keep looking, see if I can tell. Production ended 2001. Blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they were doing at this time, but this was the last one that CSX got, and it may or may not. It was downrated at some point, and then it got sold off the Progress Rail. Downrated is, I don't think they changed the engine. I don't know what they did. Did they downrate or change the engine out? Replaced. Totally replaced with. Oh wait, sorry, that was the first one. Evos. They got 4,600 16-cylinder Evos. So these still would have been rated 6,000 because the Evo I don't think was in production yet in 2004. They were still churning through their Dash 9s at that time. This is a nice picture too. I like the way the shading looks and everything. Of course, it has a. I remember at the time there was a lot of criticism because in theory I think that if you don't use AC units in like if you mix them up with DCs, you don't get much. You don't get as much as the. I think at the time they were saying if you didn't use them in blocks, you were kind of wasting the potential. But I'm not sure. I can't speak to that, but that was something that I heard about at the time. That some railroads would keep their AC units together. I think Conrail did that, but others wouldn't, and there was fan criticism at the time. And that's an eight. So that's an SD. That's an SD50 8573. Last one. I'm gonna just get my dad in the picture here. Trying to figure out what I should do with this picture. So I'm not sure you can see it. There's a little micro park. It's not really accessible. I don't know who maintains it. There's a little lawn there. Someone gets in there and has to maintain that. It might be CSX. I'm not sure. So this looks like the third unit. This is just an AC4400. There we have that second one, that 85 something 73. So this is just the same thing on that train. Yeah, my parents were down more in the grad student days. I didn't have a car, so if I wanted to get back and forth to home, it was either Amtrak or they would drive me. Anyway, I'm sorry for the stream stuff. I'll try to check that later on. Might be something, I don't know. Who knows what was up with that? It looks like it worked out. Miami Dolphins. What about the Dolphins? Did I capture something in there? I didn't see. As I addressed the question to the Mike Pendergrass in the chat. Anyway, as you answer my question about where you're seeing some Miami Dolphins, I will be back. I will be back next Sunday into Monday to do the remainder. The remainder of the photos are going to be. Oh, let me delete these, or delete some of these. Maybe I'll save that one. 31 and 33. I will be back next Sunday to Monday. I'm going to be finishing up a bunch of stuff on the Port Road around Port Deposit, the milepost 6.5 signals, and CP Tome in Port Deposit. So anyway, have a great week. I will see you then. It's probably be again short, but I don't have much else going on. Let's see if there's an answer to that question. Oh, orange and blue. I mean, I guess it's just the color of every movie poster ever. Anyway, have a great night, everyone. I'll see you next time.